Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanchez, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. Today we have Stephanie Costello and Kevyn Major Howard from Full Metal Jacket to discuss the Second Amendment. But before we get to them, Jim, got any rants?
Yeah, actually, I do have a rant today. And this is going to be, just for viewers and listeners, this is going to be like my number one theme for most of next year.
Is this a resolution?
Yeah. No, it's not a resolution. It's just I want to start doing more research on it because, I've been talking to a lot of people post-election, right? And it's very interesting how many of them are like, I really don't care who won, could care less. I'm just glad it's over. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, well, number one, there's no integrity in politics. And I kind of smirked. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, we kind of go with, but specifically the rant is I think a reason why a lot of people don't trust politicians is because I guess
they lie and cheat.
Yeah, it's human nature, right? That if you have inside information, you're going to leverage that inside information to benefit you financially. I think that's a human instinct. I don't necessarily think that's just a political instinct, but it's pretty interesting how bills and legislation seem to go through right after something drastically happens in the stock market, and you notice the people who voted on those bills either just bought a bunch of stock or just sold a bunch of that stock. So I really think that there needs to be a major investigation, and not only, Daphne Lee and Cindy Lake been talking for years about the Fed, and then also this insider trading stuff that's obviously going on with these politicians, and it needs to be addressed.
Or how about they're just not even addressing we the people?
Yeah.
Aren't they supposed to be
I mean, yeah. It's just, but for me, I think that would go a long way into, and I'm not talking about the typical Democrats calling out Republican leadership calling out Democrat leadership. Yeah. What happened to you calling your own people out? Like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, didn't they talk about the 100 federal judges that they had insider trading information before they ruled on cases?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something. Now, am I naive enough to think that that's going to go away completely? But just like with family court, unless somebody starts bringing this issue to light, then it's just going to keep going on, and no one's ever going to be held accountable. So you got to start somewhere, is what I'm saying.
Well, is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's.
Other than that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas too.
Today's actually Christmas Eve, folks, and we're here in the studio.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's start off by Stephanie Costello. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a firearms instructor, full-time pretty much. I work over at the Range 702 as the in-house instructor.
I've been there.
Yep.
Took my little girl there.
Yeah, it's a nice range.
I didn't see you.
I was there.
I've been
must
there
have
twice.
Missed me. You didn't look hard
Three
enough.
times. What, they have you in the back or what?
Yeah, I have my own little private section.
Really?
School. Yeah, it's our training room.
You know what? I think I'm going to need that right there. Thank you.
Yeah, work on that, right? Yeah. We have our own classroom, and I'm there probably 5 or 6 days a week sometimes.
So you do CCWs and all
CCWs, but I also train armed guards. So I'm a firearms instructor, NRA law enforcement instructor, also a 6 Hour master shotgun instructor, because that's what I really like to shoot, shotguns.
The sound of that shotgun is incredible.
It's awesome power. The way I look at it, 2 guys are going at it with handguns, and then all of a sudden somebody with a shotgun comes on the scene. It's over.
It's gone.
Shotgun wins. Bam.
But you don't aim with a shotgun, though.
What do you mean you don't aim?
Who aims with a shotgun?
Well,
do you aim with a shotgun?
When I'm shooting slugs, I do. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You want to do that with slugs for sure.
But it has such a kick, though.
Well, it all depends what kind of ammunition you're putting in it. You can get some low recoil stuff too.
Do you train cops as well?
Yeah, I work with them. Well, not so much cops, but juvenile justice. I've done a lot of work with them coming in.
Like probation officers?
Yep, those sort of things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is that it for your bio?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if you're talking about Second Amendment stuff, but I've been teaching for about 15 years. And work with my dad. Company is Archangel Training Solutions. And
what do they do?
Same thing, just training, firearms training. Okay. So We've been at that for a while, and business is booming right now.
I bet.
Business is booming. Yeah.
You could take the weapons apart and clean them and all that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got about 5 guns for you to clean.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do that. Of course I do that. That's my equipment. You got to take care of it.
Okay.
You know, especially if you're going to be carrying concealed, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the big things. We get people that come into class and I'm like, they have guns that are not well cleaned. They're not in good operating condition.
Oh boy.
And if you're going to trust your life on it, you better get on that.
You don't want to jam.
No, you don't want to.
And then we have Kevyn Major Howard from Full Metal Jacket.
Good
Thank
morning.
you, sir, for coming.
Thank
Tell us
you for
about
the invite. Been a film actor for the last 40 years from Canada originally.
What part?
Vancouver.
It's cold in Vancouver.
Yeah, no. Montreal is cold. That's where I was born. Vancouver is where I kind of grew up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right up the street from where I was born. In
Highest suicide per capita in Vancouver, rain season. It's just too much for anybody.
Really?
Yeah. I
Beat
grew up in
Seattle?
Well, it's right. It's
That's
next door neighbors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe that's where they all came from.
And then the last 10 years of my life, besides the film acting that I've been doing, I have given back to our heroes through a nonprofit called Fueled by the Fallen. You may have seen my vehicles on the road. I have 5 Camaros with light bars and all the names in gold of those we lost in 9/11. So first responders is Angel 1, 2 trade towers, Angel 2 and 3. The Pentagon with Flight 77 is Angel 4, and Angel 5 are all the flight victims. It all began with me building my first 1963 Chevy Nova race car, and that was for the Marines.
Oh,
and
who'd you give it to?
No, it's in my stable. I call it the 21 Car Salute to America.
Okay.
And I send them on tour around the nation.
So you put this car together for the Marines?
I put it together with the Marines that paid the ultimate sacrifice on our battlefields in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Gotcha.
And when I took it to the Marine Corps, I took it down to 29 Palms. And I'm not going to tell you, I was a little unsure of myself simply because I'm putting our heroes on a vehicle that will be seen by hopefully millions.
Right.
But when you take it to the Marine Corps themselves, and we came around the corner, and all of a sudden this rumbling sound of a 63 Nova race car, and everybody looked up, the Marines looked up, and the car approached, it came into the base, and they all stood and saluted.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew I had done the right thing.
Was the American flag on the car?
It's done in camouflage.
Oh, I see.
And it looks like actually a newspaper.
Gotcha.
And everybody's name and rank, those that paid that ultimate sacrifice. And I will say it was inspired by simply, because of Full Metal Jacket, I was invited to the base to see a silent drill. They took me on a tour afterward, and there was this beautiful marble piece. And I said, as I read, what is this about? And it was a tribute to a 19-year-old, Toriel Gray was his name, who jumped on a grenade for his platoon. And I said, you know something, when I go home, I need to sit and think about what it is, the ultimate sacrifice that Marine paid for my freedoms. I need to do something in return for this. And with imagination, I lived in a Disney cottage, built by Disney for his lead animator. That's another story. But beyond all that, I sat with imagination. I said, you know something, the canvas of an automobile is great for a 2-year-old or a 92-year-old. They will pay attention. And this is the way I can walk our babies into their future by knowing their history. And so the Marine car was born. And then it became the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, all branches of service, then my police cruisers, and then the 5 9/11 Angels. This country needs a big turnaround, a wake-up call. Boy, does it ever.
So, Kevin, do you still act?
I do. We're actually working on a few projects, one with Cole Hauser called, the title is, Tiffany, do you got the title on that? All right. A new picture, but yes.
And how long did it take you to do the Full Metal Jacket part?
We spent 17 months doing that film. Matthew Modine and I were the very first scene with Hooker, Me Love You Long Time. And then
I've seen a few of those.
Wow, right? 17 months later, we finally came home. And it was quite an experience. I got to know a little bit about your DNA. by my research.
Tell me about my DNA.
Just you have a DNA that just it's beyond anything I can comprehend. I know that I respect it, but for what it is you do, and you'll do it all over again, even if you pay the ultimate sacrifice, you would say I would do it again for you, Mr. Howard. I don't understand that DNA. I just know how to applaud it. So thank you. Right back at you, brother.
What did you get out of the Full Metal Jacket anyway? Because I'm curious. What did you get out of it, or what was it that you try to transpire to the audience?
I think I may have said it in this fashion. I love who we all are on planet Earth. We are all related somehow. My gosh, you're my neighbor. I should know your name too, Jim, right?
Yeah.
If I know Jim's name as my neighbor, then I don't get upset about a parking spot he's parked in. We forgot to be neighbors. And that's what I think the Marine Corps is about. It's that sir and ma'am. By the way, let's bring that up. I just heard from my wife today that sir and ma'am is actually being excluded from the Marine Corps. Are you kidding me?
What?
Yeah, they're trying to get gender appropriate. And now they have, now I don't know if you, just in the news.
You know, I always said the Marine Corps
geez.
is not what it used to be when I was young.
Yeah.
You can't, the drill instructors can't even put their hands on their hips.
Yeah. Parents can, I heard recently a parent can come and get his son out of the Marine Corps simply because the son wants to get out.
What?
Yeah. So there's a lot of troubles ahead in the waters, and I hope, and I'm relying on all you guys, I hope that we are still strong enough to pull this out.
Well, you see, people forget that the reason why the boot camp is structured the way it is so if we go to combat, you get to walk off that battlefield and come home.
Right.
But if we start training our Marines to be, I'm going to use wimps,
Right?
then they're all going to end up dead, right? We go to combat, none of them are going to come home, right?
No. So I'm kind of, listen, I think we're all scared for the future. I think we're all paying attention to the future. And we all need to participate in the future. I'm so sick of being in a crowd of people, and I can't speak because you don't want me to voice my opinion because you're on that side of that fence. What happened to the conversations, people? Right. Come on, stop it.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think one thing that I've noticed over the years is that a lot of people have forgotten what the First Amendment actually means. They don't realize it works both ways. So if I want to, I should be able to say what I want. But if I say something that is completely stupid to Steve and he doesn't like it, he has the same right to come back to me and go, that's absolutely ridiculous, I disagree, and this is why. Yeah. But now we live in a society where it's like, no, only I can dump my feelings on you. You can't say nothing back to me. And that's something that needs to seriously change. People need to really rethink that.
What's that going to take, though?
That's the thing. And then that whole thing with the Marines, I was talking with JC about it, and it was like, I don't understand why people have not come to the realization, whether you've ever served or not, because I haven't served, that I've never understood why people think that the military should be a social experiment. It's exactly what Steve said. You have to be trained properly so you don't die. I mean, it's not a feel-good scenario. I mean, you're trained to be a warrior. You're not trained to be politically correct.
Is it recruitment down 50%? Something like that.
So since this is a Second Amendment show.
Yeah, right.
What's the constitutionality with the Second Amendment? Explain.
Well, the Second Amendment, I mean, that's we have the right to keep and bear arms.
When
period. After that, I don't think there's anything else like a clause that says unless you are such and such, there's no other diversion, right? It's pretty straightforward from the way I read it. And, the way I look at things a lot too is that we already have all the gun control laws in place that we need, right? Can somebody that's mentally deficient, can they get a gun? No. Right, if you're a convicted felon, can you get a gun? No. If you're a fugitive from justice. Yeah. The point
and that's
being
what people are stuck on when they says that the right should not be infringed upon. But back in the founding fathers' days, they didn't have anything called mental illness.
Right.
If you're a witch, they hang you, and that's the end of it.
Right.
Well, I just get frustrated that they keep trying to put more gun control laws on the books, because what other gun control laws could we need? That's not already in there. The only thing these laws that they continually try to bring about, they're just going to further restrict our rights, right? I mean, I don't know. Can you name any law that might be helpful in stopping crime? You know, is there any other restrictions that aren't already out there that we would need?
Unless you know the crime is going to happen before it happens.
Yeah, right. Well, and you know, honestly, with the way the FBI is, you know, surveilling everybody, they should know that, shouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what does should not be infringed upon? What does that mean to you?
What that means to me is you should not be infringed upon. I shouldn't have somebody like whatever Kathy Horchel in New York going around telling people you can't carry in Times Square, you know, that sort of thing. I mean,
so for you, when it says it should not be
I have
infringed
the right
upon,
to defend myself.
does that mean anybody could have a weapon, no matter if they're a felon or if they're mentally ill or blah blah blah? Does that
Felons, I mean, there has to be
because
some,
people are stuck on that? Should
they
not
are.
be infringed upon. That's why they can't move past it.
Yeah.
And when they say it should not be infringed upon, and then I'm saying, wait a minute. So if I'm mentally ill, could I get a gun? Because they hung up about this background check. Or if I'm a felon, could I get a gun? If I just killed 3 people and I did my time and I came back out of prison,
Rehabilitated.
Could I get a gun? So they're caught up on it should not be infringed upon, but that's why they're caught up on, we shouldn't have background checks. But if you don't have background checks, you're not going to know if that person is a felon or if that person is mentally ill or blah, blah, blah. So how do we get past that wording when it says it should not be infringed upon?
Right. It gets a little bit tricky because even if you're talking about doing background checks or mental evaluations on somebody, usually when you do those, that applies to that moment right there and then. So even somebody that's mentally insane, they might pass a test at that particular moment because maybe they're not feeling so wild at that time. But then 10 minutes later, something else could tick them off and off they go. But that's after the test happened, so you wouldn't get a proper reading. So that's another issue there too. I mean, how do you apply specific tests? I don't really know. I know that I want to be able to defend myself, especially with the rise in crime. And I know that most gun owners are responsible, some of the most responsible people in the community. You know, if you're a lawful gun owner, you're out there learning about your gun, you're taking it apart and cleaning it, and you're training, you know. That's what they say. I believe that anyway, that majority of lawful gun owners are some of the better people in the community.
So do you believe in the background checks?
I have a problem with it simply because I know that the government is going to use that against us.
But how could we identify if you're psychotic or if you're
background check as long as there's not a database that's gathering all the information, which there
What do you
already
mean by
is.
that?
Well, I believe that there's some new laws that are coming in that I feel like the insurance. What do they just do in California where you have to get insurance if you own a gun? And so that's kind of another way to keep tabs on gun owners.
Yeah, I think it's called SR24.
Yeah, so SR24, and that's, you know, I mean, I have insurance. I think it's a great idea to have self-defense insurance because chances are if you use your gun, you're going to get sued.
I got an umbrella policy for that.
Yeah.
Umbrella policy in what sense?
Umbrella policy. If somebody was to sue me, they'll step in and hire lawyers for me to defend.
Exactly. And I think that's like imperative. I wouldn't drive a car without insurance. Why would you carry a gun without it? You know.
Well, I think
Especially
one
in
of
this
the
day and age.
things that I think that the Supreme Court should do is actually be honest, because this is my personal opinion on this. I'm just basing this off of how case law works from the Supreme Court with the First Amendment. Like they've already decided that the First Amendment is not an absolute right. Like screaming fire in a movie theater is not protected under the First Amendment. Well, if we have all these background checks and laws on the books, and I personally support background checks, we have those laws. That's basically the Supreme Court already saying that the Second Amendment is no longer absolute. Because otherwise you shouldn't be able to pass those laws. They should be able to take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court say, no, Second Amendment, thou shalt not be infringed, and kick it out.
Yeah, that's going back to absolutism. But But you know, there's one thing: you can yell fire in a movie theater. You're just going to get punished for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have a right to say it, I guess, but you know, under possibility of getting penalized.
So do you think owning a weapon is a right, or do you think owning a weapon is a privilege? Just like driving a car, because driving a car, you don't get your driver's license, not a right. It's a privilege, right?
It's a privilege. It's a privilege,
So
yeah.
what do you feel about weapons?
Yeah, you know, I guess I'd have to say it's more from that standpoint of view. I'd say it is a little bit more of a privilege, you know, because I think I agree with you. You know, background checks. I don't want a bunch of dangerous people running around with guns, but the fact is that dangerous people don't follow the law, right?
So do you agree with the background check?
If it could be a background check that's done, and then once it's done, it's discarded. I don't think there should be tons of files.
What does that mean?
Well, I just, you know, I go back to this data.
So if the cops pull you over, and if it's not in their files, they're not going to know if you're an illegal gun owner or illegal gun owner.
What should be in the cops' files are the any of the crimes that you've committed. Okay, but it's not so much that they need to keep a record for a background check. If the background check system works fine, then that's fine. But here's the real crux of the situation: is that you take a look at bad guys. Okay, is a bad guy going to go to an FFL dealer and get a background check to get a firearm?
Look,
I'm just saying.
I'm in agreement with you, because those signs that says with a gun and a big red mark go across it.
That's an irritation.
If you're carrying a weapon illegally, that's not even going to matter to you, right?
Neither is a background check. If a criminal wants to carry concealed, are they going to sit through one of my 8-hour classes and get a concealed carry permit? No. I once had a felon say to me, Stephanie, if I want to get a gun, I'll have one by tonight and I'll pay less money than you. What did I say back to that? What do I say back to that? I guess you will.
I always say that
You know,
those signs with the guns crossed out.
That's an invitation.
All that is telling a bad guy or woman.
Come here. These people are defenseless.
Nobody here has a weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the king in this room here.
90%, right? 90%.
So that brings up another question. We had talked about it a little bit more or earlier. AB 286.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one?
Okay, so AB 286.
Don't get all fancy with us, buddy.
No. I'm gonna explain it because I explained it before too. So AB 286. A lot of people are concerned to see if Lombardo's going to sign it into law. Mm-hmm. What that law states is, you know how like when you go check your PO box. Mm-hmm. You don't take your gun into the post office because it's a federal building. You can't. Right. However, and that's already been passed. But however, now AB 286 would extend that right to private businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So now private businesses can ban concealed weapon permit holders from bringing weapons into their facilities as well.
But they tried that already, and it didn't pan out. And I don't know if that was because there were still some Republicans in the legislature, and now that they
basically, I mean, they're gonna debate it this legislative session, and hopefully it gets shot down, because I think it just expands the restrictions too much. But are you for it or against it, or you don't know enough about it?
I don't like restrictions on where I can carry. And then there's just, then there's all the legal complications. They were talking about that, trying to make it into a felony if you carry it in a casino, right?
Really?
That's what they were trying to do with this type of legislation.
But casinos are a private establishment.
Well, that's what AB 286 is, right?
AB 286 was trying to back down the so-called red flag law, and I forget the specific number.
Yeah, I don't like the red flag gun law at all. I'm like, no on that one. Okay. No on that one.
But there is also a Patriot Act out there after 9/11 started that I believe President Bush signed.
Patriot Act?
It was as part of the Patriot Act.
That was the beginning of actually midway through them.
Oh, and then the Homeland Security was formed, right? But it says...
And you see where they got to. I mean, I see where they're at now.
I'm watching 24 right now, so it's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
With Jack Bauer.
It's excellent.
So it says that if you're a retired police officer, mm-hmm. Or if you did 10 years on the force and left, and you left in good standings, you could carry your weapon concealed anywhere in the continental United States.
Yeah, that's the Leosa Act, HR 218s. We actually...
Do you believe that's a good piece of legislature?
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm all right with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at least they're trained, you know,
And they could respond
and they can respond.
quicker
Absolutely.
than the cops could get there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if I'm getting robbed right now, I call 911. I'm dead like 100 times over, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to be able to defend myself.
And then especially now, where are the cops supposed to go to now?
Right.
What kind of calls are they getting anyway?
you-
Or is it going to a social worker?
Are you
Right, 'cause
packing?
they're gonna solve the
Are
issue.
you packing right now, Steph?
You think? I didn't know I was going to walk into here. Yeah. Better be strapping. What?
It's so funny. It's funny. It's funny you say that because I always tease like the one show we had where we had two retired Metro or North Las Vegas Northtown cops, and so Steve,
lieutenants,
yeah,
too.
yeah, and Steve's like, "Well, where's yours?" And I'm like, "I don't need one. I'm in the safest room in America right now." It's like being at the league. Oh,
We all
please
put our
let
guns
someone.
on the table.
Yeah.
They were the only one that didn't have a gun. But what's so? Could you break down the difference between and the laws? Between
sounds like this.
because you teach the second
Yeah,
amendment, right?
yeah. Well, I teach concealed carry. Yeah.
Concealed carry. That's your thing.
Part of it, yeah,
So you
yeah.
should be the expert.
Okay,
right?
okay, sure.
Would you consider yourself an expert
Well, I don't know about expert. I mean, on a good portion
or a
of that.
professor? Right?
Yeah, I'm a professor. Yeah. I'm a pretty good instructor too.
Okay.
So
And
yeah.
you teach law enforcement and civilians.
Yeah, well, I teach armed guards too. So
And
yeah, I
do
know
you
a lot
teach
about the
any
law.
military that,
Yeah,
or
but,
they already know it all.
well, yeah, a lot of them do. But then again, I've had some people in pretty high places.
Maybe the
in
Air Force
military.
guys you probably have. To do.
I knew
I
that
know.
was coming.
Here we go.
I knew that was coming.
No, I know some really good shooters that are
what?
in the Air Force. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But they were Marine first, then they joined Air Force.
Sometimes like that. Yeah, sometimes like that.
or else they wouldn't be good.
We all know Marines are the
Right?
best. We know
That's
Marines
right.
are the best.
Say it. Let me hear you say
I
it.
said it. Marines are the best, right? When it comes to shooting guns, anyway. Right.
So, Miss Costello, could you break down on the difference between open carry and conceal?
Sure. Open carry, just like I'm at right here. Open carry, gun on the outside of the.
What do you got there?
I got a Steyr. A Steyr.
Oh, yeah?
It's a P Duo.
Okay. You pretty good at it?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it, especially this gun. This gun shoots like a dream.
Should we put it to the test?
Yeah. I'm always up for shooting. Heck yeah.
That's good.
Where can we go? We got a place out here. I'm waiting for you to like open up a basement downstairs with a shooting lane in it. It's like, yeah, let's go. Let's see what's up. But anyway, open carry. You could have a gun loaded, by the way, one in the chamber on your hip. If it's in a holster on the outside of the waist belt.
Stop.
What?
Loaded? Of course. Is there a different way to carry a
Some
weapon?
people ask me that. You wanted me to go through it. Yeah, no, there's no other way to carry it, really.
Okay.
Especially when you have 1.5 to 3 seconds to deal with a bad guy once a situation turns.
Or woman.
Yeah, or a woman.
There's some
Yeah,
bad women
bad
out
person.
there.
Yeah, or can I
Politically
even
correct.
say, yeah, right, bad
Bad
person.
person.
Yeah. But anyway, as long as it's completely out in the open, but concealed carry refers to when you have a gun upon your person and any portion of it's concealed, then you need a CCW permit.
So why are you carrying your weapon open? How come you're not carrying it
That's
concealed?
for show. I'm on a TV show.
Okay.
Well, actually, it was concealed when I had my blazer on. I took my blazer off because it's hot in here. So I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd offend anybody.
Oh, no.
I didn't think I'd scare anybody.
So Kevin, how did you get wrapped up into the Second Amendment discussion?
Well, first, I want to compliment Stephanie on her training abilities. I took Stephanie's class a couple of years, in fact, with my wife and my family.
Which one? Which carrier are you? Are you a CCW or are you open carry?
I'm open.
You're open.
I have the ability to get the CCW, although I don't want it that close to me, so I keep one readily available.
What does that mean?
I know. What it means is this. I'm a little frightened of pulling a gun on anything for any reason. I don't want to go down that laneway unless you are threatening somebody I love, my family.
Well,
you're in my home.
How you know that's going to happen? You don't.
No, I'm
So you got to be prepared.
I'm playing the odds, and to some preparedness, I could say this: I'm 25 feet away from mine right now, and hopefully, and knowing that Stephanie was going to be here, I knew she had my back. You got my back, but I do play the odds game
Well,
because
who has our back?
right. I know I'm playing the odds game, but again, I don't want to get involved in a situation that I can't handle because I don't have the experience of it. But as I said in the Full Metal Jacket, if I get into the shit, I'm going to pick up the rifle. I'm going to put down the camera. So I'm that kind of mentality.
Who's that?
It's not me.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Oh, your watch.
It's LinkedIn.
I was like, what the hell? That don't sound like my
Sorry
ring.
about that. I turned off my ringer.
So I have one readily available, if not 3 available.
What do you carry?
A 9mm Beretta.
How many weapons do you own?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe about 6.
And you don't want to get a CCW?
My wife carries the
You
CCW.
always point on somebody else to watch your back, but you can't watch your own back. What is that, Kevin? You got to be able to watch your own back.
I was brought up by a man who had guns pulled on him. He was from southern Alabama, and he was around when his friends were being lynched on trees. So anytime I was given a Christmas present as a young boy growing up, I wasn't allowed to keep that gun as a toy. My father was very frightened of it. So his DNA has transferred into my psyche, and that's where I'm kind of at. So when I come to somebody like Stephanie, it's like I'm walking in with trepidation. I understand. I'm willing to learn, and should the moment come and I can get to my piece, I'll use it. But I don't want to put myself in a position readily.
All right, well, check this out. Just to ease your mind a little bit.
Okay.
I've been a CCW carrier since 03 in this state.
All right.
I've probably been in 5 or 6 fights while having my weapon on me.
Right.
Not once did I pull it out.
Right.
Because here's the thing. You pull out a weapon, you press the trigger.
Exactly.
And you press the trigger to kill. You don't press the trigger to wound, to kill.
Yes.
So I never felt that my life or anybody else's life was in danger. Even when the cops shows up at the scene, they run you, they go, oh, you're a CCW carrier. Why didn't you draw your weapon? I said, I didn't feel I needed to.
Right.
I mean, I'm not like you guys. I'm talking about the cops always got to draw their gun.
Right.
Every minute. I didn't need to. I didn't feel that my life is in danger. But the difference is that you should have it just in case, because that's what it is. Just in case. It's like that spare tire in back of your car.
Right.
How many times did you change a flat?
A few times.
See?
Yeah,
Just
it was
in
there.
case,
It was there.
right?
Yeah, just in case.
You know?
I agree with you. I'm just not
He's
there
got run
yet.
flat tires now.
Because right, did you say that again?
I said you have run flat tires now. So
I think also it could be my own understanding of me, which is I don't know that I'd be the smartest kid in a battle, and then at the other end of it, go, oh, I shouldn't have done
Why
that.
are you prejudging yourself?
It's not a prejudgment.
I was going to call you Mr. Howard.
There you go. All right, we're back to Mr. Howard. Okay.
Why are you prejudging yourself?
It's just, it's a safety valve until I get put up against the wall on purpose.
But by that time, it might be too late.
I know it might be too late.
yeah, but you know something too. I don't think that everybody should have a gun. I'm not saying that I would prevent them from it. No, there are some people, like, we even say that in class,
Yeah.
If you don't think you could actually pull the trigger when the time is right, then maybe you shouldn't have a gun.
That's right.
Because they'll
Because
probably
they
grab
take
it from
you.
you and use it against you. So maybe he's being real smart.
Yeah. When listening to Steph and your father, the Sarge, you gather a lot of information simply by the way they're exposing ideas and moments and when it happens and if it happens and what you've just sold when that first bullet comes out of that chamber. What have you lost in that moment? Yeah. And the side of me is to protect my family at all costs. Yes, I agree to that. And if I can get to that piece and that's what it's going to take to save my family, I'm in. I'm all in. I don't need to second. But the other side of that coin is by firing that weapon,
Your life changes.
I have just put my family in a different threat. And I don't want to do that to them either because I'm not a smart enough guy in that moment, not knowing how I might react. I just know that I'm all in if it comes to you come into my house and you point that thing at me or my wife, you're done with me. I'm unleashing everything I can. And that's kind of my mindset. And it's just about, I'm willing to open carry because then people see me coming, and I'm okay with that.
You want to be an intimidated figure.
I guess maybe.
I want them to embrace and love on you.
Yeah.
And then when they hug you, they feel that, thing.
And I'll also say it this way too, because some of the understanding I have is we are such a litigious society. My God, that's why we've lost our country. Mm-hmm. Every day, I'm being assaulted by people who forged my titles on my cars and have stolen them, admitted to the forgeries, and I still can't get my cars back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if they can do that there at that moment, what can they do if I conceal and then somebody says, "Oh, I don't like that son of a bitch because I hate him." And guess what? I'm going to tell the cop that he kind of did this with his shirt. He showed me he was wearing it.
Even if I exactly. Is brandishing a law in this state?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm. So I don't want that to be misinterpreted. Plus, being who I am, a film actor, I'm a target in a lot of different respects. So I don't want to put myself out there so much. I'm very private. I like to stay in my.
Well, look, I look at it a lot differently.
I know.
When it comes to saving my life or somebody's life around me, then I'll take that risk.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to prove in the court of law if I brandish a weapon or not. So I rather live and go with the brandishing than die. And
I agree. But I'll tell you this: my wife has concealed CCW, and she's got my back. I married the girl. She's got a beautiful ring.
Back to the wife. Who's got the wife's back?
I know who the boss is in my family.
Who's got the wife's back? You got the wife's back.
I got your back too. That's why I train her, right?
So, Ms. Costello, why did you get into this?
Basically, my dad. Yeah.
Tell us about Dad.
Oh well, Dad, he's he's the Sarge, but
what does that mean? He's a Sarge.
Well, that's his nickname. That's what he goes by.
Was he in the military?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. No. Was he top secret? Black ops?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, that's the thing.
Was he Jack Bauer?
Pretty much.
You kind of. So yeah, I really, ever since I was young.
Jack Bauer is my hero now. Right?
Yeah. No.
I'm in season
cool,
7.
He's a cool dude. How many different shows do you watch now?
I'm in season 7. They got 9 seasons.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I got the 7.
Well, I like Ziva.
Which one?
Ziva on NCIS. It just goes.
Oh no, I didn't see that show. I probably worked towards it next.
You'd like her.
Ziva, wasn't she she would work for
Mossad. She was former
Mossad.
Mossad. Israeli Mossad. Whatever.
I used to watch that.
Yeah, but anyway, he started up firearms training, and I decided to help him out. We started off with a really small group of people. I remember driving across town to Pro Gun Club, about 45 minutes or an hour to teach 1 or 2 people CCW class. And then that would be it for that day, and then go back the next day, and then eventually started building up. And now we're getting like 28, 29, 30 people in class.
So this is
we never shut down over COVID either.
This is your own business.
Yeah, this is our own business, yeah.
And what's the name of your company?
Archangel Training Solutions.
Archangel. And all you do is CCW training?
No, we do armed guards.
Weapons training?
Yeah, weapons training. We do requalifications.
Where's
for
your
armed
facility?
Guards. We work out of the range 702.
Oh, you work out of 702.
Yeah.
So like an independent contractor for 702?
Yeah, we're the in-house instructors there. I mean, they have other instructors that are employees, but we're just independent contractors.
And how many graduates came through your? Is it a school or?
Well, we teach CCW class every Wednesday and every Saturday. Gotcha. I mean, every Wednesday, every Saturday.
Should you be teaching one right now?
Yeah, but it's Christmas Eve, so this is the first Saturday I've had off in 5 years, 7 years, I don't know, something like that. It's been a while.
And you came in Grace her studio.
Yeah. I want to talk about some stuff, right? Yeah. Like I said, I got some things to say. But during COVID, we were teaching probably 100 people a week. All through COVID, we never shut down because you know that in Nevada, they have in the Nevada Constitution that you cannot further restrict firearms or ammunition during times of emergency. So when they shut down for COVID, we stayed open.
The stand your ground law was famous in Florida from that one incident. that they had down there with that one armed guard and the kid.
Yeah.
That was in the news for a while.
Right.
Well, what do you feel about the stand your ground?
Stand
law?
your ground. Well, we talk about that a little bit in class too. Stand your ground. You have a right to not retreat. Basically, you don't have to retreat if somebody picks a fight with you, right? But as long as you're not the original aggressor, you don't further aggravate the situation, and you have a right to be standing where you're standing. What I'm going to say is that I'm probably a lot more like you. I let a lot more things roll off my back. Now that I'm carrying.
How do you know I do that?
Well, because you mentioned it before, and I listened. Right? No, you said that you got into 4 or 5 fights, and you never pulled your gun, and that would be.
But I didn't let it roll off my back. I beat the little crap out of it.
Oh, good for you. Oh, okay. I'm just saying that I know that once you pull that gun out of the holster, your life changes. And
and especially if once you press the trigger.
Well, once you press the
and
trigger, you pull it out and use it. Yeah.
The way you look at the humanity.
Even if you take the shot and you don't take the life, your life is going to change.
The way you look at humanity has changed forever.
Yeah.
It's never the same.
There you go. So I know that that's a big step to take, and a lot of consequences that you may not know the reverberations of are going to happen. And that's in that sense, I let a lot more things roll off my back. I give people so much rope to hang themselves with, and you know what I'm saying. But I'm not going to try to further aggravate a situation because I know where it could escalate to, and I know what I would do if it does escalate to that point. So stand your ground. Yeah, it's nice. You don't have to take any shit from anybody, but at the same time, do you want to let it escalate where your life is going to change because of that? So I'll say stand your ground. Yeah, right. I don't like to take any nonsense from somebody, but at the same time, if I see an exit door, somebody's talking some smack, I got the exit door.
Funny you mentioned that, Ms. Costello, because I know when I was a youngster, which still a youngster, right?
Yeah, right.
Just the other day.
Yeah.
I used to get into a lot of road rages, especially in California.
That's a tricky one there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now that I'm a CCW carrier, my road rages went to almost zero.
Exactly.
I said almost zero.
Almost zero.
Almost zero. Because I know I have the power.
Yeah, exactly.
I have the power to eliminate the threat.
Yep.
If the threat comes my direction.
Oh, yeah.
So with that in my mind, I'm like, man, I don't need to even engage in this bullshit.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. It's just like, I know what I could do,
right.
But I also just don't want to.
Mr. Howard is trying to chime in here.
I'm getting the finger wag from my wife because she's California again and road rage and road rage and I'm notorious. My problem is that I have a temper too, and if you push me and you're a miserable person and you're being stupid, I want to teach you that lesson that you don't want to do that ever again. And that's where it escalates. Yeah. And that's my wife is wagging her finger. Now, are you telling me really if I was concealed carry, I'd have a totally different point of view on this, really?
I'll give you one yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday, I'm driving. I have my 14-year-old in the passenger seat. This guy cuts me off.
Right.
And so I pull him next to him. I'm like, what are you doing? And then he went, I was like,
I'm done.
No, he did not do that.
I am done.
Normally, I would have pulled up in front of him and want to beat his little butt.
Yeah.
But I said, wow, that's your IQ. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And I just went along my little way because I know I could take him out if I wanted to. I had a clear shot in the car there.
Exactly. Sometimes people don't know what they're missing.
And there was nobody else on the road.
Honey, I've been convinced we're getting the CCW right after we leave here.
So Ms. Costello, tell us a little bit more about the Second Amendment.
Well, you know what I would like to talk about is, and I want an answer to this question. If let's just say there was a race, okay? You and I were in a race, and you finished first, right? I finished second, okay? No problem. You get first title. You get the gold ribbon. I get the silver or whatever, silver medal. Now all of a sudden we find out a week later that you had taken steroids. Okay, just so you know.
Wow,
so what happens? Yeah. What happens then? Do you get to keep your first place?
No, it should be a do-over.
It should be a
All right,
do-over,
it should be
shouldn't
forfeited.
It should be a do-over. So that's why I'm thinking, and have you guys heard about the case you probably have, Brunson versus Adams? What do you think about that? Because my big problem before I let you go into that is that we've been catching people red-handed doing some pretty egregious things. And why aren't they just stopped immediately from doing it? I mean, I could go anywhere from the president right on down through the FBI. I mean, it's found out. We've got proof. You know, we all knew it before, but now we've got proof right there on the table. So now we found out that they've been doing these horrible things that have broken our First Amendment, broken the Second Amendment, however many other amendments, not to mention just being criminal. Why are they allowed to continue on doing this?
Honestly, I think some of it, the way it was explained to me, I've heard of the case. I haven't like totally briefed it, so I'm kind of vague on a couple of the issues. But one of the things that I think what we're running in to a problem, and they were trying to tie it into actual Title IX as well, is like it's not. They're concerned that it's going to have a negative impact on transgenders participating in sports because someone
versus Adams.
Yeah.
That
was one.
Thing,
yeah, we might be.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking the one that the Supreme Court might hear, and it's about like a dereliction of duty. Saying that these fraudulent elections that have been going on, that the Congress people have a duty to research. They have a duty to research, right? They should be taking a look at this instead of having judges saying, "Oh, you have no standing. Next, let's move on." Yeah. That sort of thing. So, I mean, what I don't understand is if you get found out, you catch somebody doing something illegal. What happens to them? Right now, nothing. They just keep going on doing what's illegal. It's like, no, we caught you. We caught you. You have to stop. And nobody stops. What's up with that? I mean, look at what's going on with Twitter right now.
Everything is upside down. The bad guy is the good guy. The good guy is now the bad guy.
You sound like Dennis Miller. Remember when he did that special, America Upside Down?
Second Amendment.
Yeah, I know.
But I think it ties in.
It does tie into it because if this even SB 286 goes through, I mean, it's still something. It's all these. What I'm getting to is basically our representatives are not representing we the people. When was the last time I had a say in anything? Do you think I want to continue giving money to Ukraine? And doesn't mean I'm a bad person and I can't stand the people in Ukraine. But what about our people here? What about our vets here? Why are there,
But that's a decision. That's a decision that's made by a congressperson that you either voted for or didn't vote for. But they won the election. So
I did not. But are they really responding? You tell me this: how many people in the United States want to keep the borders open? How many people want an open border down south? From what I hear, 80% of America does not like the direction this country is going in.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So how come our will of the people is not being reflected in the decisions of the Congress people? That's what I'm saying. And then it goes on we can go right on into the Second Amendment because they keep trying to put on all these extra gun laws. And who's telling them to do that? Did I tell them? Do you think anybody voted for 87,000 new IRS agents? I didn't. Did you vote for that?
No, nobody would vote for that.
Well, then if they are representatives of the people.
And they carry guns.
Yeah, and they carry guns. I'll tell you, you want to get into Second Amendment? I'm pretty pissed off at the ammo prices. Are you kidding me? And why are the ammo prices going? Where's the shortage come from? We were doing fine up until a couple of years ago. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, ammo prices have gone through the roof. I can't find the shot shells I want for my shotgun. But what the hell's up with that?
Do you know one of the significant reasons?
Yes, I do. Go ahead, tell us. Yeah, I do. I know. Where
She's got telepathy there.
I know. Ammo are going? Is that what you're asking?
No.
Okay. I know where it is. It's in the hands of these IRS agents. And they're not trained either. You got to be kidding me.
That just came off the street, and I'm an IRS agent with a gun. One of the significant reasons why this country cannot be taken over by any foreign entity is because...
It hasn't been already? Okay, go ahead.
Is because everybody has a gun.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
And if you start taking guns away from your citizens, you're going to have a Hitler
tyranny. Yep. Yeah, but here's
because
the thing.
that's what he did.
But here's the thing. What are they doing?
What's the first thing Hitler did was take away the guns from the people.
They can't get the guns. But you know what they're taking away now? They're taking away the ammo.
Yeah.
They're taking away the ammo.
Yeah, that's
you know how
the
expensive it
roundabout
is?
way of it.
I just looked to get some shotgun ammo. $1.80 a round. $1.80 for one shot shell.
And you know what you do?
$1.80.
When you shoot
Make
that,
your own?
when you shoot that individual, you charge them.
Yeah. I'm for that.
you
Why don't they
charge
make
them for that
that's
ammo.
the next legislation that should be up. That's good.
If you got to put a bullet in somebody, even if you miss,
Yep.
you
Tack
charge them for it.
Now, right there.
Because I'm pedestrian, how much did it used to cost?
Oh, not that much, like 60 cents, 50 cents, 40 cents. I mean, if you got
2 for
bulk,
1
it could be
special.
30 cents.
So here's the
40 cents.
thing. Hit your target and don't miss.
Yeah, but how do you practice? If I want to go out,
do you
you know what I'm saying?
practice? That's
All
true.
right, okay, I'm going to take one shot. Yeah, now I've got to, I guess dry fire is the best way to practice, and then you just go to the range to verify that you're making progress.
Do you do those obstacle courses that they have for shooting as well, or you just do straight down the range?
I'm an IDPA member, International Defensive Pistol Association member, and matter of fact, I've got a competition coming up on January 8th, I think.
Okay.
Something like
That
that.
reminds me of that show they had years back. I really like Top Shot.
Oh, that's a great show.
That was an awesome
That was
show.
awesome.
I used to watch that all the time.
Yeah, I like that too.
What would be the best advice you could give to a CCW carrier?
Practice, and know your laws. If you don't know your laws, you're going to get taken advantage of.
So you have a CCW, right? And even if you don't have one, because your vehicle is your private property, correct?
Yeah, but
and
also
you have a weapon in the car.
All right, but now let's put it this way: can I have a loaded? Well, of course we're going to have a loaded weapon in the glove compartment of my car, and drive all around town, go through Las Vegas, city of Las Vegas, Clark County, Boulder City, North Las Vegas. Can I do that without a CCW permit?
Well, in North Las Vegas, there used to be a time that you could not carry a weapon in your car unless you have a CCW. You have to go back and forth from the range, or even if you had a CCW, you couldn't even carry a weapon in your car. They changed that law.
You know what law that was? It was preemption.
Yeah, they
Right?
changed that
Preemption.
law to
It's not
get
that-
the gangbangers off the street was what they said.
Yeah, that's what they were
that
trying
law,
to do, but it was all about preemption because with preemption, whatever goes for the state of Nevada, there's no smaller jurisdiction that can supersede what the state of Nevada has to say.
Yeah, that's why they got rid of it.
Right, and you got CCW, that's from the state of Nevada, right? So no smaller jurisdiction such as North Las Vegas can supersede what they have to say.
And I always say the same thing, though states should be able to supersede federal law, but they do it anyway, especially in family court.
Is a gun in the glove compartment of your car carrying concealed?
No, because the car is your private property.
No, that's not why.
Why?
Because carrying concealed refers to having a gun concealed or
your
any
person.
portion of it upon your person. Is in the glove compartment upon your person?
It's not on your person.
No, it's not.
So let me ask you something.
So it's not so much from the property standpoint. It's not upon your person. So for that matter, I could have a gun in the center console underneath the front seat. You know, and then it's not carrying concealed.
Do you have a legal authority without you being pulled over by an officer for, I don't know, traffic ticket, whatever? Do you have a legal authority to tell that officer that you have a weapon in the car?
There's no law that says that you have to.
Unless they ask you, right?
Right, unless they ask you. But what I'm going to say is, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to get that one out in front.
No, because I've done that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Steve's an export on this
all right,
law.
There's a YouTube video of this.
Okay.
In fact, they use
that video.
They use the video for training. Yeah. They do it now, and it's a video of me being pulled over by a Metro officer.
And you didn't tell him?
I did tell him.
Okay.
Upon telling him, he took me out the car.
Yep.
And he cuffed me.
Ooh, I don't know about cuffing.
Yes, he says for his safety, right? Because
safety?
he was alone, and then he went into my vehicle. And after I repeatedly told him, "Do not go in there. You have no probable cause, and you have no search warrant."
Right.
And he took my weapons out of the vehicle and ran them. And to top this off, 2 other officers showed up because he lied and said that I was being irate. and 2 other officers showed up, and he still had me in cuffs. So I was in cuffs for an hour, although I made $20,000 off of the deal.
Okay.
Because I sued Metro for that, for illegal search.
Yeah.
And illegal detainment and
Goes
blah,
back
blah,
to
blah.
know your laws.
But there's a lot of people that don't know their laws.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's-
sure that was an isolated incident. I'm sure that wasn't my incident. It wasn't
Yeah.
the first one ever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm sure many taken place, but I'm the only one that stood up to him.
Right. Because, well, it can go either way.
So now, sorry
Yeah.
to cut
Go
you
ahead,
off,
go ahead.
but I'll forget my thought. But now I get pulled over. I don't tell the officers I have a weapon in the car because of that incident.
Yeah.
Well, why do I want to be harassed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless I want to make another 20, then I'll probably tell them.
Let's roll the dice, see how this goes this time. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't had that same type of incident that you have. I just know that they're going to find out one way or another. You know, if you
When they run you on scope.
yeah, exactly. When they run it, it's going to come up. You have a CCW. Then they're going to come back and say, you got any weapons in the car? And I like to get ahead of that one because, from my point of view, and granted, I haven't been through your experience. What does it say that you have a CCW? Have you been through an 8-hour firearms training class? Yeah. You know, have you passed a background check to get a gun? Yeah. Are you a good guy? Pretty much, you know. Right. So if I was a police officer, that's how I'd be looking at it. And from what I understand, talking to other police officers, is that if they have 2 cars that are, you know, they're deciding which one they should pull over, they see one's got a CCW and one driver or one car's registered to a CCW holder and the other one's not. Where are they going to go? For the one that's not. Because most likely, if you're, you know, smart like that, you're going to say, well, that CCW person, if they have a CCW valid one, they probably haven't broken any laws recently.
You know what the cop told me when I showed him my CCW?
What? I can't.
He said he had to double check because I could be a felon. There you go. That's what he said.
There's your
Was this a
sign
young
is
guy or
going
what?
up and say-
Yeah, he was a rookie.
It was a rookie. But I put the YouTube video out, and you should see all the hits that
I bet. But well, one way or another, because I know some people that have come into class and they've had some not so cool things done to them, but primarily it's because they didn't know the law. See, at least you got to make $20,000 off of it because you did know the law.
But to be fair, like
My lawyer got 5 though.
Steve's saying it kind of lightly, but he had to go in and he had to report it to IA. Yeah. I mean, it took you over a year before you saw that. And then lawyers,
Citizens Review Board said it was nothing there.
Right.
Internal Affairs says the cop was following policy.
If he wouldn't have been as
but yet
persistent
Metro
as he
settled for
was.
$20,000, right?
Yeah, right.
But if he wasn't as persistent as he was, he would have never saw that. And that's the bad part.
That lawyer before we leave.
Adam Breeden.
Adam Breeden. BRED.
BREDEN. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not cool at all. You know, and I've heard some other stories that really, you know, just make me think, man, it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way at all. I don't agree with that part at all.
So did we exhaust this topic, or do you two have anything to add that we didn't cover?
Well, it's just the what's going on. I guess maybe the Second Amendment part of it. I don't know what else to. There's a lot of different other angles that we could go through, but you know, I wonder, like, going back to what I was talking about before, when you find out somebody's done something wrong, you know, and you have proof of it sitting right there for everybody to see, how come the corrections aren't made? Or let's take a look at Horchel in New York. The Supreme Court rules that, you know, you can't have your rights infringed. And so what does she turn around and do? It's just like an F you to the Supreme Court. All right, fine. You know, if we've got to back off on our gun control laws, we'll just make it so that you can't carry anywhere in New York. You know, it's just like, what kind of stuff is that? Why? That's what, you know.
Those gun-free zones have the most problems with weapons.
Yeah, most problems.
And states that don't have these gun-free zones don't have any.
Yeah, and some of the safest states in the country are a constitutional carry. Mm-hmm. How about that? Think about that.
Like Arizona.
Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Go figure.
You know, it's kind of interesting. It is on the gun topic, but it's kind of, so I didn't know this, and I'm not sure if you do or not. But it's funny because everybody always tells me, they're like, you know, when I go, because I'm originally from South Dakota.
Yeah.
So when you go back to the country or whatever, every time somebody passes you, they wave.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, man, they're so polite around here. And so my uncle explained it to me. He goes, that's because everybody in this state has a loaded gun.
Yeah.
And they wave to say, hey, I'm cool.
Yep.
But he goes, yeah, well, we're friendly around here because you don't have a choice but to be friendly.
Yeah, I had somebody, I think it was from like Arkansas, and we were talking about it, and he's just like, yeah, nobody locks their doors there. And I was just like, what? You know, I was just like, wow, you guys are pretty trusting. He's like, no, that's because everybody has like 4 or 5 guns in the house, and they know if you break into their house, you're going to get shot.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
keeps
like
everybody honest. Keeps everybody honest.
It's like my neighborhood. We all got guns and war, because I live in Centennial Hills.
Okay, yeah.
Or in the rural areas
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So we all
You guys
got
probably have
guns
some
and
bomb shelters
walls,
and stuff like that.
and
Oh, yeah,
cameras.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you break in any of those houses.
Yeah, good luck.
You're at your own risk.
Yeah, that's what I say. The locks on my doors aren't there for me. They're for the people trying to break in, because God help them.
Look.
They do.
This is how I look at it, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I got dogs.
Yeah.
I even got a parrot, loud
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
And I got walls. I don't even have a front door.
You don't?
No.
Well, you just waltz into your house?
There's I finally put a doorbell after 2 years living there, right on the outside by the garage. You can't get into the property at all. And I got cameras and I got audio and all that, right?
Right.
And I got motion lights and all that stuff.
Yep.
So, and I got security doors and I got all the windows covered with solar, right?
Yep.
So my thinking is this: if you break into my house, it's not to rob me. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kill your ass.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Even my 14-year-old knows the rules.
Yeah.
Like when we go over to Steve's house, like the running joke is, as soon as we pull into the driveway, I always text him, I'm here, don't
Get your
shoot.
ID out. You're ready for the eye scan.
I always go, Steve, I'm here, don't shoot.
Yeah.
Because you can't just drop into my house.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you don't need anything like that at all.
No.
You know, it's I'm with you on that. I think everybody should arm up, though, because who knows how soon this is all gonna
Populous.
Yeah, exactly. But
All right. So, well, Jim, you have anything else for two guests?
No, I just really want to thank you both for coming in, and thank you for this, Kevin. I appreciate that a lot. And it was a really informative interview. It was cool.
Well, let's do this. Kevin, Major Howard.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being on the program.
To you and all the veterans, I just want to say this. Merry Christmas. If you have a buddy you can check up on because of our men and women coming home 22-0, check on a buddy. See what's up with him.
I'm going to let you say that. Mark's going to zoom in on you, and you get to say your final words.
All right.
And if you want a point of contact, email, phone,
All right.
you could use that as well.
Okay.
Or website, or whatever.
All right.
I don't know what you got out there. I haven't had the opportunity to really vet you. So.
No, I understand. First off, from my family to you, thank you so much for my freedoms. Merry Christmas. And because of the heroes that come home battered, brain, PTSD, all of it, we need to check up on those buddies. So let's use the buddy system. Make a phone call to a buddy and say, hey, how you doing today? If you want to reach me, Fueled by the Fallen is my nonprofit organization. Reach out to me. I can be reached at 3 or 4 in the morning. My wife takes care of that website. So Fueled by the Fallen. Merry Christmas. Steve, thank you very much. Jim, thank you very much.
And hold up one of those posters so Mark can zoom in on that.
Here we go. Got it?
All right.
All right.
Stephanie Costello, thank you so much. It's
thanks
been a
for having
very
me.
informative program. You as well. Look in the camera, and Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you get your final words. And if you have any point of contact, or you trying to get some folks to come to your Archangel to learn how to learn the safety of weapons, you can do that as well.
Okay, cool. Well, Merry Christmas from me, Stephanie Costello, and from Archangel Training Solutions. We're always available over at the Range 702. We're the in-house instructors there for any of your gun training needs or for your CCW needs. But anyway, Archangel Training Solutions. Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care.
Well, thank you, two lovely folks for coming on. We really appreciate it. This is fun, huh, Jim?
Yeah, it was. This was a really good show.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
And Jim, thanks so much for being on the program as well.
Yeah.
Folks, this is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones of Veterans in Politics. That was Stephanie Costello and Kevyn Major Howard discussing the Second Amendment and also talking a little bit about the Full Metal Jacket. That was very interesting. That was a good twist in there as well. Merry Christmas. Until next time.